So if you saw my last video on the contract related matters where I discussed the third party financing condition addendum here in Texas, assuming again you're using the TREC form, the financing addendum, paragraph 2A, which related to the buyer approval, right? Well, now I'm going to talk about paragraph 2B in the same addendum, but it relates to the property approval regarding appraisal, insurability, property condition, so forth. So if you read that provision carefully, you'll see the buyer has up to 3 days prior to closing to notify you as a seller again whether or not the property meets the lender's requirements. Now, that's problematic for a seller like me, where if I have a 30-day closing on a finance buyer, they've got 27 days to notify me, even though they may have that appraisal or know for a fact there's no other issues. If the appraisal comes in low, they don't have to notify me right when they get that information. They can wait till 3 days prior to closing, which causes me to lose valuable marketing time, right? So I'm going to tighten that provision up. I'm not going to give them 3 days prior to closing. My time frame is always going to be right now, in the market we're in now, I'm going to give them 10 days, the buyer, 10 days to notify me whether or not that property meets the lender's underwriting requirements. What that does is it forces that buyer to force their lender to order that appraisal right away and to check into the insurability of the property, so forth. But if you get all that done in a 10-day period, then after that, that buyer waives their right to terminate under that provision the way that I drafted up. I don't want to give them an extra week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. The longer you give the lender to get that appraisal done, for instance, the longer it's going to take for that buyer to notify you if there's an issue with the appraisal or in many cases the property condition, so forth. I recommend you think about that and tighten that time frame. Right now, appraisals can easily be done within 7 to 10 days, even if they have to put a little bit of an expedite on it. But that way, you can know within 10 days whether or not your property meets that lender's approval, and that buyer has to notify you. If they don't, then they're going to waive that provision, their right to terminate under that provision, and get their earnest money back. Hope that helps you a bit on your contracts.